I'm Sam Reich, and this is my last meal.
Every person has exactly two things in common. We all gotta eat and we're all gonna die. Today's guest is a true pioneer of internet comedy, having spent more than a decade at College Humor before founding Dropout TV. He's a delightfully impish host of Game Changer, and you can check out Season 8 coming soon. But before all that, he was doing no holds barred street magic under the name Blonathan Pars.
Oh my
Sam
God.
Reich, welcome to the show.
All right, Nardwar.
Sam, what is your greatest fear?
What is my greatest
What is your greatest fear?
Whoa.
Are you sure it's not clowns?
You mother censorer.
Hey, you know, if you ever need any, like, clown type or miming type stuff for Dropout, just let me know. Josh has my number. So.
Can I tell you something? Great application.
Oh, thank you so much.
That is so much more effective than a headshot
Dressed
resume.
for the occasion and everything.
I am on so many beta blockers, and my heart is through the roof right now.
Well, see you guys later.
See you later,
Enjoy
buddy.
your last meal.
He heard about the profit sharing, and we told him that he could shoot a shot.
I somehow knew this would happen. Like, you invite me on your show. Obviously, I'm going to get a taste of my own medicine.
I think you deserve it, but tell me what you remember about Blonathan Pars in your no holds barred street magic.
Dutch West was the comedy group that College Humor plucked me out of. Because at the time, there just weren't that many people specializing in online comedy. And I guarantee you, if there were, they would have picked those other people. Blonathan Pars was like my version of David Blaine. But the video that got me hired by College Humor was a dance number set to Earth, Wind, and Fire's September.
A moment in time, and truly a time to reflect on it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sam, thank you so much for joining us today. Have you thought about your last meal before?
No, not until this. They say funerals are wasted on the dead because you would ideally like to hear all of that nice stuff.
Of course, yeah.
I think like last meals are wasted on the dying because the truth is that I'll probably be very nauseous by the time my last meal comes around. So in a way, this is perfect.
Yeah.
You want to have your last meal with plenty of life.
And I can't wait to get down to it. You ready to eat?
I am, Josh. Before we do that, would you mind if I hosted your show for a moment?
Would I mind? I think no, I wouldn't mind, Sam. Let's see where this goes.
Everyone has exactly two things in common. We're all gonna die and we all love burritos. Today, my guest on the show is Chef Josh, the host of Last Meals. Josh, thanks for coming on Last Burrito.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Sam. I am a huge fan of Last Burrito. I've watched every episode.
Well, it's this one, so you technically have. Now, Josh, you established on the first ever episode of Last Meals that your last meal would be as follows. Shrimp cocktail, garlic bread, and this, a San Diego style carne asada burrito.
Yep.
So because that's been established, we thought we would mix it up a bit and we would offer you a flight of hot sauces to taste along with the burrito. We have here in no particular order, hammer pepper hot sauce, koji nosh sauce, chili de arbol, and finally a saucy carrot sauce. I would invite you to dig in and tell me which hot sauce we're gonna start with.
I'm so sorry. What the hell? Who are you?
You thought that you could bring in a clown and I wouldn't immediately reverse the power dynamic on this show? Who do you think you're dealing with, Josh?
I will never underestimate you again. Remember when I said delightfully impish? Now it's more like intimidatingly impish. Intimidatingly demonic, I think. We're gonna start with the hammer pepper hot sauce. What I would do with every hot sauce is put it on.
That sauce utilizes the Thor pepper hammer. Now, you were an elite hammer thrower at UCLA. Josh, do you think that the world of sport prepared you in any way for the as brutal world of content creation?
Sam, I'm so glad that you've asked me this question. I've been waiting for you specifically to sit here and feed me a burrito and a bunch of hot sauces and ask me that exact question.
That's right.
Because it very much did. I remember the exact moment in time where I realized how much hammer throwing prepared me for the general job world as it was. I was working at a catering company.
Yeah.
But we had a 14-hour shift and we're on our feet the whole time. And I remember the person next to me like collapsing on the ground and having a panic attack and going, I can't do this. I've been on my feet for 14 hours. And I thought back to the time when I front squatted 400 pounds for the first time, and I blacked out and I woke up covered in my own vomit. And I went, what do you mean standing for 14 hours? This is rest. And then realized that I could withstand so much more uncomfortability. And boy, is this job uncomfortable sometimes.
Next up, we have this Koji nosh sauce. Josh, you covered the Koji brand in your column Future Nosh, which you wrote for LA Magazine.
Get the f*** out of here.
Did you ever imagine, in all your ability to predict the future, that your career would have taken the twists and turns that landed you here now, eating this burrito and talking to me as someone flips your own show?
No, I don't think I ever had a final destination premonition that allowed me to truly, with the foresight, see this. But the biggest thing, that Future Nosh column, shout out to Danica Lowe at Epicurious, who hooked me up with Andy Wong, who then got hired during Leslie Barker Souter's maternity leave at Los Angeles Magazine to give me a column where I spent $85 on groceries and 12 hours of labor to get paid 50 pre-tax dollars. That's good economics, but that's like a perfect microcosm of I was willing to just do anything to do the things that I loved. And I was living on student loans at the time, so I was like, what's an extra $35 on ingredients to make, I think, a short rib kimchi nacho cheese Crunchwrap Supreme.
Whoa!
In the Future Nosh column.
Good memory.
And so for me, it was just like a moth to a flame. Wherever the light led me, I think there's an infinite amount of universes where I end up here talking to you. There's an infinite amount of universes where I end up, on like an Oculus Rift Anthony Bourdain knockoff show.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be on TV. I never wanted to be on camera, frankly. I wanted to be a writer my whole career, and then the value of the written word just dried up. And
really, from writing to food. I mean, food, you were cooking at a young age.
Cooking at a young age, but I always just wanted to write about cooking, write cookbooks and all this. And in 2010, you successfully convinced your own father to stop writing books and make the switch to TikTok. You wrote about that in his autobiography, coming up short, but we'll get to that later.
Well done, Josh.
A2, Sam.
Here we have chili de arbol sauce.
This rules, dude. This is sick. This
which
is cool.
I have it on good authority is one of your favorites.
This is the exact hot sauce I would have been putting on the San Diego style carne asada burrito when I was a kid.
That translates to tree pepper, but did you know that that's a misnomer because it actually grows on branched bushes? And then would ask you, do you, much like this pepper, ever get imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I love the way that you're framing the questions, though. Is this how I frame questions, or is this how you would frame questions?
I think honestly, it's a compromise.
Fair point.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how much of the black mirror I'm staring into.
There's a little bit of like cutting to the quick I'm doing because your team rightfully was like, this can't be the whole episode. They were like, we got to get through this fast enough that there's an actual episode of the show.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's still a great bit, and I think this is wonderful. Imposter syndrome. No, I don't get imposter syndrome. I will say the thing that I would do early in my career, and I still do it so bad now. It's the reason I read your dad's autobiography. I've always had a tendency to over-prepare for everything, which then kills that imposter syndrome for me. That comes with a host of its own problems. But I think one of the things I realized, especially hosting the show, is that all these people that you've sort of deified in a way, all they want to do is be treated as a normal person. So you having imposter syndrome sort of implies that there is a class above you that you don't belong to be in. That class simply doesn't exist. You might suck, I agree, but everyone else really does too.
So in a way, impossible to have imposter syndrome when you aren't reaching above yourself to become something else. You are reaching almost on a horizontal plane
100%.
To be exactly who you are.
Yeah. It's a good hot sauce.
Last but not least, the saucy carrot sauce. Now, you and your wife, Julia,
Oh my God.
that's
why you said saucy carrot. Oh my God.
fell in love over saucy carrots.
That is true.
Now, how do you feel about having a partner who responded to me cold reaching out to her on Instagram?
Julia, yes!
To conspire against you on this segment. I mean, to me, that's just like the best kind of partner I can possibly imagine.
In the same way that your own wife conspired against you for Sam Alama Ding Dong. You should know the feeling, Sam. Isn't it wonderful to have someone who will just support you on any very silly whim?
And
I feel
to go at lengths for the bit.
so many people are so concerned with checking boxes on a romantic partner.
Yes.
I need someone who's 6 feet tall and makes $100,000. They got, they like hiking and they don't like this director and they have a sense of business. None of that matters. Like, if you just feel loved and supported,
Too true.
do not question that at all. And like, truly seeing her on her first date just wipe this roasted carrot and caramel and without a care in the world suck the tamarind sauce off of her fingers, I was like, that is genuinely a huge sign that this is somebody I could be very comfortable with for the rest of my life.
In a way, it showed you her willingness to go the distance or commit to the bit right then
100%.
and there. Josh, I want to thank you for coming on Last Burrito. If you want to address to the camera there what your Last Burrito words are.
My last burrito words are, Sam, you ready to eat?
Yeah, let's do it for real this time.
Good, man. Sam, for the first course of your final meal that you will be eating, we have scrambled eggs on sourdough bread, and then we have the chowder fries. And then, of course, you asked for ample sea salt. We have
That's beautiful.
a last meal's coffin full of Maldon sea salt.
That's gorgeous.
Please, where do we begin?
I guess let's begin with this beautiful scrambled eggs on toast.
So we used your exact method. We scrambled these very low and slow, almost like a risotto.
Good for you.
As you mentioned, we got the nice pasture-raised eggs with the dark orange yolk, and then just heavily toasted sourdough.
Oh my God.
Do yours taste like that?
Should we open up a restaurant next door?
Probably
serve
should.
this?
If any industry is more turbulent than digital media, restaurants, let's do it.
Oh man, that's good. I didn't even put my. This is how excited I was. Where are my manners?
At what point in your life is this dish taking you back to?
When I was 14 through 16, I was pretty badly depressed. But this was a big depression meal for me, and the reason why is that I could make it by myself. Because my appetite was not good, and my sleeping habits were so all over the place, I was really only eating when I was hungry, and sometimes that was at like 2 or 3 in the morning. This is a terrific 2 or 3 in the morning dish.
Oh, yeah.
While this kind of brings me back to being depressed, it's like in a comforting rainy day kind of a way.
Yeah.
You know.
There's a quote from Waiting for Godot. I believe Estragon says, "I can't go on like this." And Vladimir says,
That's what you think.
did you have those moments where you thought, I can't go on like this, and there was something that brought you out of it?
My drama teacher, Mark Lindbergh, he shared with me those lines of dialogue when I was in the worst of my depression. And I think what they stand for is like a comedic ability that we have to go forward in the darkest of times. Like a borderline absurd. And I've had probably like 2 suicidal dips in my life. And
Is that the term the doctor used?
Yeah, right next to
Just a
depression,
little-
they check dip.
Just a little SD.
And our next dish, a suicidal dip of spinach and
It's
artichoke.
just all the dips mixed together.
I do think that like they did make me stronger because they made me more calloused. Like you talking about your experience in sports, I feel like I have a tremendous ability to withstand pain and humiliation because of what I went through being depressed. And that has only served me.
Dig into the clam chowder fries. There's no greater segue. So what we have here, we have fresh double fried French fries dusted in a little bit of Old Bay, some kind of seafood seasoning. Then we actually melted some super sharp cheddar on top. And then we reduced a clam chowder, so it's kind of nice and saucy. Some fresh bacon bits, scallions. And then I know you're a big fan of leeks, so we did a nice little fried leek garnish.
Now, that was nowhere in my email, folks. A little behind the scenes for you. Nowhere in my email.
Just on my arm.
I called you Nardwar earlier, and I want so badly for Ooh, Culinardwar.
Culinardwar, that's pretty good. When's the first time that you had clam chowder fries?
These are a little bit of a recent discovery. Oh, baby. Come on.
Oh, some house-made hot sauce in there as well. Our culinary team really went all out. Shout out to Colby and Jen on this one. They really went to town.
It's basically poutine. I grew up in the Northeast. There was a chapter of my life on Cape Cod where I, no joke, probably consumed at least 2, if not 3, cups of clam chowder per day. Like
I was so curious what unit of time measurement you were going to say. 2 to 3 per day.
Without a doubt. Like I'm fairly confident that if you did my 23andMe, clam chowder would show up in my DNA. More recently, I went back to Boston for a Dropout improv show, and I went to Legal Seafood, and there was a fan working the bar who must have told the chef, who sent me out chowder fries for free, and I'm not lying to you, Josh. I cried. It was a combination of like feeling recognized in my hometown, feeling recognized at this chain restaurant that I had like grown up loving, and also just those chowder fries, baby.
I maintain so firmly that the food doesn't exist. It's merely all a metaphor. And like, that's what I love about restaurants, right? The idea of actually the hospitality industry is something that makes you feel so very, very human. And that idea of you being seen for the thing that you have given them the same feeling that they then gave you with these chowder fries, Sam, that is human reciprocity at its finest. It's beautiful. It's what we live for.
Oh, God.
But I mean, honestly, in the same way that you giving me that experience with the burrito, like, I did genuinely feel seen in that moment. That's like a really wonderful feeling to have as a human.
Without bringing it clumsily back to the show, your show and my show, there's a way in which both of our shows help people to be seen in a way. Like my love language is surprise, and surprise as if you couldn't tell. And I both have the ability in these media to surprise people by like mirroring them back to themselves. And what an incredible act of service, both for that person and for the audience. Because I think there is something really fun for the audience to watch those moments as well.
Oh, 100%. Is there anything you can remember about the feeling that comedy gives people from watching your dad at the Harvard faculty talent show do a 2-man bit,
Come
Sam,
on!
when you're like 8 years old?
Come on!
What do you remember about that?
All right, Sean Ovens. I got all day, Josh.
But for real, was there a moment when you were a kid and you were like watching him on that stage? And you were
100%.
like, oh, this is a feeling I want.
Obviously, like my father is this super successful, and funny to use this word for a man who's 4'11", imposing figure by virtue of his success. My brother and I essentially split him in 2 and each got half of him in the divorce. So my brother is a sociology professor at Columbia who is genuinely ducks the spotlight, like doesn't like that aspect of what he does. And I am a ham who took the performance piece and really does shy away from being called like an idealist or want to be put on too much of like a moral pedestal. So yeah, my dad, he does this Harvard talent show with a colleague of his at the time. They do like a 2-man bit where he plays the Prime Minister of Bulgaria. He speaks in gibberish and then his colleague translates for him. And that game would go on to become a game called Translator, which we've played on Make Some Noise.
Oh my God.
Over and over and over again, inspired directly from that bit. And I remember sitting in the audience at the age of, I'm pretty sure 7. And my dad was bringing the house down. I mean, house of Harvard faculty and associates. I remember thinking like, this is it. Nothing I've seen to date has been it, but this is it.
Do you remember the first time that you were actually able to capture that feeling? And was that something that helped you get out of your depression? Or if you've ever gotten out of the depression, if that is even like an appropriate phrasing of it.
I think in some ways it's kind of like alcoholism. I have a lot of friends in AA, and you treat it as like you're never fully recovered. You could be on like the recovery side of it, but in a way I'll always be a depressed person who like is taking measures every day to not be depressed. I would never define myself as happy. But again, I think that is in some ways the edge. Like, it makes me more sporting because I'm not afraid of unhappiness in maybe the same way as someone else is.
I've noticed that anytime I say something like that to a therapist or like a friend or a loved one, they have to really walk me
worry
down.
about you?
Yeah. Not even worry about me, but I feel like they always make a really great point where, and maybe I'm twisting your words a little bit, but like, your success is not because of your depression. It could be in spite of it. And I go, nah, I don't think so. What would you know?
I'm sure that's true.
Sure.
And I'm sure what I'm engaged in right now is partially just an act of rationalizing it.
Yeah, of course.
Like, we want to be able to find meaning in it. Of course we do. I'm like an existentialist by way of nihilism. So like, I don't think there's any ultimate point to any of this. But in the absurdity of it, I find a lot of joy, and then the ability to turn my life into whatever I want for it to mean, I find incredibly empowering.
Absolutely. Same for the second course of your final meal on Earth. This is the mom special. We have your mom's butternut squash risotto. We have the Nutella sandwich with cream cheese, and then we have your special mocktail made with Mr. Q cucumber soda, a little of lime mint, cup with some sparkling water.
Really, really good. Actually, good proportions.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's dig into your mom's risotto, because once risotto sets, it gets nice and gluey.
Oh my God,
and
it looks
we were
beautiful.
inspired by your mother's food blog. We were reading, she didn't have this exact recipe on here, but she had a butternut squash pasta that we assumed she was using a somewhat similar technique for. We pureed a little bit of roasted butternut squash with a veg stock, and then actually used that in the liquid for the risotto, and then just some fresh cubed steamed butternut on top. How'd we do?
The risotto itself is cooked perfectly. The chunks of butternut squash, they're like just that right combination of like, they're cooked, but they're not falling apart. Like, they still stand alone in this dish. My mom has exceptional taste. For a British woman, and that's not a dig on British cuisine, we had, okay, maybe it is a little, we had like a remarkably American childhood in the sense of like, we had taco night and we had like spaghetti and meatball night with garlic bread, Josh. It was good garlic bread. But when we left the house was when she really started to go deep on food. So we would come back and she'd make things for us that were like truly next level. I mean, like beyond restaurant quality. She started this cooking blog, I think largely because she wanted to make sure there was a record of all these recipes somewhere. I mean, some of them belong to her mother, others she simply captured throughout the years. But like, I say this as someone who is truly a foodie. My favorite food is my mom's food.
You've described your mom as hyper competent, really cooking, and then starting a second career as a functional medicine practitioner and an acupuncturist. But like, her career record is insane. The founder of the Domestic Violence Institute at Northeastern, from a settlement that she got by suing Harvard for gender discrimination.
Yeah, I was gonna say, people say that my dad is a lot to live up to, and I think there are a lot of reasons why my mom is more difficult to live up to, not the least of which is because she has done all this. She's had this remarkable career and has done it less publicly, like more altruistically in a lot of ways. To your point, she was a professor at Harvard. She was denied tenure. She sued them. She won a big settlement, and rather than pocketing that settlement, she used it to found the domestic violence in the law program at Northeastern. She wrote the first ever textbook on domestic violence in the law. As a part of this program, she would rehouse women in violent situations. She lost women in violent situations as a part of her academic work, right? And then she would have been in her 50s or 60s, I think maybe 60s, when she suddenly realized, I think she had lost her father, and this was a bit to do with it, that she had been living the career that he wanted for her, not the career that she wanted for herself. She first wanted to be an actor. A little too on the nose. But when push came to shove, she wanted to do something that had her hands truly busy or helping people. And so she studied acupuncture. She was the oldest person in that program by several decades, completely upended her career and began practicing in Boston and then in Maine. She's retired now. She still does a bit of it. She still cooks quite a bit. But she is also like a extreme perfectionist. And
Do you think that came from her parents? I mean, we're all sort of just diluting these issues over years, yeah.
100%. So I think in a lot of ways, like being my parents' child has been sort of like learning to recover from perfectionism in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of perfectionism, this is called a segue. We cut the crust off of this Nutella cream cheese sandwich. Dig in. This is something your mom used to make for you after school, yeah?
Yeah. Now, I know what you're thinking. Nutella and cream cheese. I'm going to tell you, Josh, this slaps. This is cheesecake on bread. Okay? But I want your honest opinion. You rate this out of 10. You take a bite and you rate it for me. And I want you to be honest with me. I thought, as you do often when you're a kid and you have no context, that this was as common in kids' lunchboxes as peanut butter and jelly. And when I learned that wasn't the case, I thought, oh, maybe it's a British thing. It's not that either.
Yeah.
And I asked my mom where this came from, and she does not know. So, in preparation for the show. So I think we can call this an immaculately conceived sandwich.
It really is. Now that I love. You give me, the storytelling behind it.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to love it.
Really sit with it.
Your characterization of cheesecake between bread is good, but almost if like a Matrix program had gone wrong. Like a cheesecake had sat in a Trader Joe's parking lot for a couple hours, and one renegade manager said, we've suffered too much loss this month as it is. We need to just get this back on the shelves. It's just the inventory's not there. And then they just put it back, and somebody's like, something's gone bad. Something's gone bad. And is that the chocolate? Is that the cream cheese? But there's just like a little extra bacterial formation. The mixture of the acid from the cheese with the chocolate is what I can only call extremely jarring.
I think what you're describing is that there's something pleasantly rancid about this sandwich.
Yes.
This sandwich has 4 roommates in a 2-bedroom.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, Sam, when you moved to New York, well, your mom was like really the architect behind this very unique Sam Reich college substitution program.
Oh, yeah.
Where your parents said that they would support you in the same way that they would have supported you in college.
Yeah.
Just to sort of do whatever you thought you could do to be successful and happy, which I find to be really moving and a fantastic leap of faith in someone's child.
Listen, I'm a dropout. I dropped out of school. But I am fully aware of how privileged this version of dropping out is, right? Mm-hmm. This is a absolutely upper middle class, if not upper class, form of dropping out. I was in a prep school called Buckingham Brown and Nichols School. Is it a law firm? It's a high school.
I hate that so much.
Where there was a huge amount of pressure to get into Ivy League school.
Yeah.
And I think it was a group of alumni who came back to talk to the student body. They were very professional. Their job was to sort of like tell us a little bit about what their journey had been like from high school to college all the way to becoming professionals out in the world. But I felt in some intuitive way that they were all unhappy. And in that moment, I felt like I started to wake up to the fact that I was working very, very, very hard in school for an outcome that in a best case scenario, I wouldn't like. Blah, 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 depression, blah, blah, blah. Parents sent me away to England for a while as a part of a program for troubled teens or gap years for teens called Interim.
A troubled teens program in England sounds like something to make you way more depressed.
100%. Sounds like Oliver.
Well, yeah.
But it totally worked. I mean, my horizons were broadened. I saw how big the world was. I got involved in theater while I was there. And then I came back to school. Everybody thought, well, Sam needs to finish his high school education. And I basically managed to fail out of / wriggle out of 3 different high schools. It was totally a once you set the birds free, you can't recage them kind of situation. Yeah. My parents, in what can only be described as a kind of Herculean, if not unearned kind of trust, decided to roll the dice on putting me up in an apartment and seeing how things went. The deal was, I just moved to New York, $3,000 a month. Every year from 18 to 22, they would take away 25% of it. So the moment I landed in New York, I knew the money was running out and had the fire under my ass, despite the fact that I was being supported by my parents.
Yeah.
And I think it's just this like genius cocktail of incentives. I basically had an amount of time to make my dreams come true.
And similar in college, you feel that clock run out real quick. And totally. I think a lot of people aren't prepared for it when it does.
For sure. The difference being in college, you land in the real world, you have no runway. So here at least I had some, runway. And knew I wanted to do something like this for a living. And when the money was really starting to run out, which was 3 years into this program, and I was 21, I needed a job. And that job was college humor.
I mean, do you think if that money wasn't running out, that you would have taken that job with college humor?
Absolutely not.
Where do you think you'd be today? It's kind of a futile exercise, but I'm curious. Porn.
No, I honestly,
I think a lot about the thumbnail designers. You know what? There's somebody just making all of those.
I genuinely don't know. I think that there would have been a lot of scenarios where I would have been like an English teacher if I'd finished my education. Obviously also a super noble profession. I loved writing and I still love writing.
I think that there are certain people, and I would very much not only throw myself in there, but I think one of the reasons that you and I have ended up here next to each other, a lot of the people that are part of Dropout sort of ended up there. It's this very strange island of misfit toys, but of, I think Brennan said it very succinctly, if you've created a home where his favorite and most brilliant people on earth can show the world their talents, right? It's this kind of incredible large tent, and I think there's a lot of contemporaries in this weird greater Burbank industrial complex out here, but who don't fit in a perfect way, in that beautiful Lego matching way, in so many other areas of society. I could have been doing data entry somewhere. I would have been absolutely miserable. I would have been just gnawing on my fingers the way a guinea pig does at its cage until its teeth finally break.
Totally.
But I think it takes really ingenuitive people like you to go, might as well build a tent. We're here, you could kill yourself or build a tent. You know what I mean?
It's amazing. I mean, we were talking about this a little bit when the cameras weren't rolling, but like, I think that I see a lot of the way that the internet has captured folks who have otherwise fallen through the sieve.
Big time.
To use a cooking allegory.
It's a great allegory.
And it's like the conventional entertainment industry or industry period didn't know what to do with us. We landed here. But being here, which is such an experimental medium, we've managed to find things that are at the intersection, the middle of the Venn diagram of our unique abilities or interests, which barely existed before. And your ability to run this culinary program, but also tackle these profound topics on a stage like this is so, I mean, you've said it, it is so uniquely you. And I feel very grateful for Game Changer in the same way. Like, the Game Changer is more me than anything I ever imagined I would make.
Yeah, I think you said it was the first thing you ever made that you were genuinely proud of, that you would have actually consumed yourself.
Also, just this way in which it's so me that I can even be like, you know what? If you don't like it, that's okay. Not everyone has to like me. It's not meant for mass consumption.
Yeah. There are going to be so many comments on the Instagram reels that we put out of this that say, why the hell would anybody watch a podcast where somebody is eating food and trying to talk through that? And I say, you are correct. You're right. I hope the algorithm sends you more things that you do enjoy. I understand your pain.
Brilliant. This is very commercial. This is a very commercial. We might even say mainstream kind of enterprise.
If you're too near the microphone, that turns it into a different kind of video.
Same for the third course of your final meal. We have the LA special. We have the Sichuan toothpick lamb from Chengdu Taste. We have the crying tiger beef from Jit Lada. And then we have the hamachi choco nigiri from Santo Sushi.
God bless.
I've had these two dishes before. This one I think we should start with because this is so tremendously unique. We did get this from Santo Sushi. This is a Mexican sushi restaurant. This is a cocoa powder dusted and blowtorched yellowtail.
Isn't that something?
That is something.
I mean, only in LA. Should we do this together?
I would love to. Hey, cheers.
Cheers. How about that?
That's a brand new experience that I get to have that I've never had before.
Isn't that something?
You used a phrase that I thought was really interesting, which is you find fine dining, like any art, incredibly optimistic.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Oh. Chasing fine dining around, it's like you do a certain amount of it and you realize that it's kind of a cuisine unto itself.
Yep.
I will say the reason I find it optimistic, just like the opening of your show, we all gotta eat, we're all gonna die, is that you do have to eat. And when you take something functional and you turn it into art, where it really doesn't need to be art.
Yeah.
That is an act of absurdity and optimism.
Very much so.
I think honestly, like the same is true of so much art. That any art is by its very nature optimism, because it is flying in the face of like your most baseline needs in terms of Haslow's like hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
In favor of your loftier needs.
Yeah.
You know, but that doesn't mean it's not very silly. This, on the other hand, you know, when I first arrived in LA, I started sort of checking out Thai Town, Little Tokyo, Alhambra, these neighborhoods with just like extraordinary cuisine that I've never had before. Szechuan peppercorn was like a religious awakening for me.
Both of these kitchens. So this is Chengdu Taste in Alhambra. I remember eating toothpick lamb for the first time and being so blown away. So this is like a very like Western Chinese Sichuan dish.
For better or for worse, I have a very Ashkenazi body. And my Ashkenazi body cannot stomach a lot of spicy food. There is a reason why I did not eat your hot sauces. But the Szechuan peppercorn does not irritate my body in the same way.
It's an entirely different mechanism, yeah.
I remember when I first discovered this, I ate enough of it to have like sweat pouring down my face. And I really reached the other end of spice.
Yeah.
Where I was like, this is the euphoria that spice chasers seek. And I had never reached it before.
Capsaicin is the heat that you get from chilies.
Yeah.
And capsaicin only exists within chilies. We think of things like Thai food or Sichuan food or Indian food as being very spicy. Chili peppers did not reach those regions until likely the 1600s.
Oh, interesting.
But before then, you had things like Sichuan peppercorn, which have a different element of spice that have nothing to do with capsaicin. Things like horseradish, things like mustard flowers and seeds and stuff like that. But then you just mix all these cultures and bring them together.
Yeah.
And then you smash them in Los Angeles and you take this Ashkenazi from, where are you from?
God damn it.
Sam, where are you from?
What the That was so organic. You know what I mean? He slipped it right in.
Where are you from?
It's like, you might not even notice that he's terrorizing me right now. You might not even notice. People are watching this going, why is Sam having this bigger reaction?
Sam, where are you from?
Boston, Massachusetts.
And then you're suddenly in Alhambra, California, and you have these chefs coming from their homeland cooking with their own native products, and it's so beautiful, and that's why I love the culinary world. Sam, dig in.
Now, here's what's interesting, is this dish basically made me braver about spice in general. So something like the following week I went to Jit Lada for the first time.
That's so funny.
Now, Jit Lada has two halves to the menu. The first half is, they don't call it this, but it's the white people half of the menu. No. Then there's the rest, and I, in my new Spice Awakening, ordered something off of the back half of the menu, and I once again, Josh, reached Spice Euphoria. And then I sat on a toilet for 4 days.
Yeah. I think like you can't cheat God in certain ways, you know?
Very.
It's the fat. In the era that I came up in LA, Jitlet is awesome. Jonathan Gold, he's an utter hero of mine. I'm writing about it, Chef Jazz Rules. But
Jazz the best.
A place called Night Market had just opened. But like this was such a formative time for me trying to like figure out who I was in this city, in this greater world as well.
Jonathan Gold was an important like translator, like someone who was out there getting people like me who would not have otherwise known about restaurants like this to check out restaurants like this.
100%. There were some people that were Patricia Escarcega doing awesome work. Then LA Times kind of imploded in certain ways. All the people at LA Taco, Javier Cabral, Memo Torres doing great work. But Jonathan Gold was just such a titan. He was such a monolith in his industry.
So singular.
He took down those monoliths, right? Like he sort of democratized what people found to be very interesting foods in a certain way. I think we're looping around this segue all the way back here. I think what you've done a great job of is sort of like
watch this. Watch this.
Trying to take down these monoliths of Hollywood. You are sort of inexplicably now just an app competing with Netflix and Amazon. I mean, literally, for my attention, when I go on my smart TV, it was VIP that got me to finally, a year and a half ago, pay for Dropout.
We can toggle you to free, Josh. I
don't want it anymore. I think you have earned my, what is it, $7 bucks a month?
Yeah, $7 bucks a month.
You have earned that because I don't do the annual one. Because like, oh, I'll cancel after the next season VIP. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
We'll get you back.
What sort of like anti-bullying rhetoric did you grow up with? Because your dad wrote in his autobiography that he started to view the world as the eternal struggle, the fight against bullies.
All right. Anderson Super.
Oh, okay. Anderson, sorry. Yeah. That's good. You didn't say it was the worst one.
I told you it was the worst one.
I think we have time for you to come up with a worse one, too.
Let me start out by saying people give us a lot of credit at Dropout for what they see as being very progressive. And even though I was born into a progressive environment, so it's a little bit like fish in water, like maybe I just don't recognize it. But I've always made a point of saying, I think we're just being very decent.
Yeah.
Dimension 20 was meant to be the funny actual play show. And when we produced it and put it out there, the feedback we got was, this is the diverse actual play show.
Oh, that's crazy.
We are just producing the best, funniest comedy content with the people who are around. There is a way in which I think we've attracted a bit of an audience that at times I find surprising, who see Dropout as like a safe space, a space free of bullying and sort of like a sea of comedy, some of which has become like more and more bully-ish. You know, there's the difference between like punching up and punching down. It will always be funniest to like take the piss out of the people who deserve it the most. And so, you know, I have no problem with bullying so long as it's up.
And the grand irony of if you want to bully up at Dropout, the buck sort of ends
which is why I have to celebrate it. You know,
of course,
I'd be a hypocrite not to. And let's be clear, comedy, as well as this, it's a very social sport. Like, to imagine that I don't have personal relationships with these folks, like we're not faking it. Like we're out there putting those relationships on display. So stuff like treating people very well or stuff like profit share, it matters because these relationships matter. And we want for people to trust in us and be excited to continue to show up for work each and every day.
Yeah.
That, you know, if there's one sort of concrete thing I've learned about being a business person through this, if not economics in general, is that you can find yourself in virtuous cycles and vicious cycles. And virtuous cycles are when you're investing in the right things and energy is moving forward in a northern corkscrew. And the reverse is also possible, where you're depleting the things that matter most of resources, but like you're putting your energy and your resource toward the right places. You can set sail.
Yeah. I recently talked to a Dropout fan, completely random in the wild. Well, we were going to a live Vic Michaelis podcast taping, so it makes sense why we both would have been there. But this fan said those exact words, said, I love Dropout because they never punched down. And I had a hell of a time during the pandemic. Things in my life were super, super rough. And that was a place that I could go where I could see those positive relationships modeled in that way, in a way that is also just lightning funny. And I almost find it kind of funny that there's a capitalist argument to be made. There's a tremendous capitalist argument to be made here. You know?
Running a business is a capitalist exercise.
Sure is.
Let's be super clear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at Dropout's success story, and more people are, because I think people are like fascinated by the business, you have to ask yourself why more people aren't trying to do exactly what we're doing. And I don't know the answer to that. If you look at publicly traded companies, there are other people to satisfy in the form of shareholders, very highly paid executives. There are people in the mix that we don't have to worry about as Dropout because we're a private company.
Yeah.
But you get too much into the meta business of profit making and you are denying investment where it matters. And that is such an easy way to set off a vicious cycle, which is exactly what's happening in our industry all over the place.
Yeah.
Hollywood should fear this. Like the creator economy is basically offering people opportunities to like make their own, to shape their own destiny.
Yeah.
And unless they start being more inclusive and more generous, I talk to up and coming influencers in the category all the time who say, why on earth would I join a writer's room and disappear?
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'd like sign on for a Netflix show so long as I'm not exclusive to it. Like they have real leverage now in a way they didn't before. And when you and I were growing up, the number one career choice for kids, this is true. Gen X, it was rock stars. It's true.
Yeah.
Gen Y, it was movie star. Can you guess what it is today?
It's a YouTuber.
Influencer.
Incredible.
So it's like Hollywood should be shaking in its boots and learn, like, we're all gonna rise together or we're all gonna fail together.
Sam, for the final course of your final meal on Earth, we have a game.
Oh
Sam Reich, you did not think
my God.
that the turntables wouldn't be turned back.
These are clock tower tokens. Chef, soldier, mayor, washerwoman, undertaker, investigator, fortune teller, librarian, virgin, saint, imp, empath.
But what do they all mean, and how do you unlock your delightful cereal and ice cream tasting?
Oh, it's like a puzzle box?
Is there something inside? Can that be?
If this is a bomb, I'm about to blow us all sky high.
86 the bomb. 86 the bomb.
Oh my God, it's like a little escape room in a... You have no idea how delighted I am right now. I'm gonna play it cool for camera. What's this? Let's find out, I guess. Okay, we got a little vial of blood here. We've got a little scroll on pen. I'm gonna hyperventilate. Okay, let's find out. It's my Beowulf rap. It's my Beowulf rap. Unbelievable.
I love the phrase "my Beowulf rap." You know, I love the possessive of it.
No one else is gonna take it. What the is this? It's a test for color blindness.
I think if it was viewed through like a red, like if it was viewed through a red lens of sorts.
Something that I can see through, that I can apply the...
Oh, that's not the drinking water. That's the seeing water. I mean, that's the other water.
What's happening right now is we're in an escape room and Josh is like a generous steward in the room, like watching me on a monitor, like offering me clues I desperately need just in order so that this doesn't run us an hour over.
Sam, can I tell you something honest? I've never done an escape room.
What?
I have no interest in doing it. I love what you do.
Josh.
I think what you do is incredible, and I think the fact that you and I have
Josh.
different brains and interests is really wonderful.
Josh.
Go ahead.
Will you do an escape room with me?
The two presidents of Dropout Entertainment bullying me into doing things I fear, yes. I developed a really great improv character called Weird Cousin That Slips in Piss.
Go on.
Oh, that was it. The scene kind of ended after I slipped in the piss. They said, where's my weird cousin? I hope he doesn't slip in that piss.
Oh my God! Under the table. And Dreaming, Dave Matthews Band, great album.
God! Shit. Ah! We really didn't anticipate you leaving the booth and getting all the way under the table, but I'm glad you did.
Let's see what this is. I guess. Whatever, dude. Car, bed, run, hen, lap, fly, ice, ear, rat, let, tar, lie. Bed and lie, share the E. Run and lie, don't share any letters. Hen and lie share the E. Got it. Whatever. I hope I have this right. Lap and tar share the A. Lie and fly share the L. Cereal. I'm gonna revisit the letter. There's like maybe fold lines here. Break the fourth wall to 3 townspeople. I think what you mean is for me to address them via camera. 3 townsfolk roles. Is that fair to say?
You know, you're breaking the fourth wall in the show. You do the old Jim Halpert right to camera, you know?
So if I address the monk, hey, you monk, thanks for saving me last night. Does that count as one? Nope.
What are the markings on the paper?
Mayor.
I look similar to the one on the camera. Ah, crazy. It's
Been there the whole time. Oh, God. Got it. I am Sam. What is happening? Josh is a chef? I know.
I just make them give me affirmations all the time. That's what you say. Josh is very handsome. Josh is smart.
I think your team thinks I have dementia.
Came up during the research.
So the question is, what do I say to this camera? Oh, there's the last word here is mom. Oh,
this
one
one-
I got. Hi, Mom.
Hey, Claire.
What? What? Okay, last one. R-A-P. Oh, rap is life. Rap is life?
Why would you have written a whole Beowulf rap if it wasn't, I guess?
Josh is a chef. I am the saint. 2 roles in Clock Tower. And Josh is the chef. That means this is pointed to me, and that is pointed to Josh. Right?
I don't remember. All I remember is you got to get inside that.
Josh!
But I don't remember how.
Josh!
You twist it. You twist it. I saw that and I went, an alethiometer! And then I kept thinking about the Golden Compass series and then spaced out on what was going on.
What I have is cereal. So far, I actually don't know the role of cereal in the puzzle design. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got it. Okay.
Wait, how did he get that? What?
Hey, Josh.
Sorry, Sam,
hey,
sorry.
Josh.
Hey.
I mean this with all the affection in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Clock Tower team. Got it. Incredible. And I want you to know, whoever's responsible for cooking this up, good puzzle design.
That was
Straight up.
Annalise. She did a really great job.
Annalise, I now understand why you wanted me to go first, and I'm sorry for making your life more difficult. I freaking knew it. As I was writing you that email, I was like, they want me to go first because Josh, they have something cooked up. They have something cooked up, and I shouldn't get to know what it is, and I'm a little nosy Nelly.
Wow, he's rung the bell.
What is happening?
Sam, the knife is for you.
Ah!
Diet Cola is for me.
Kill the demon. Emma. Kill the demon. The demon. Who is the demon pointing? The demon.
I'm so sorry.
Now
We needed a counterweight for the pulley to work, and they said I had to finish the entire Diet Coke, or else it would have just spilled on us.
Now, Josh, he's the chef and I'm the saint. Then the demon.
Mark of the Beast. The Mark of the Beast, Sam! The Mark of the Beast! Sam, kill the demon! Kill the demon! Ah! He's done it! He's done it! Finally! And the cereal and ice cream has been unlocked! That was great work.
Whatever, dude. Super chill. That absolutely ruled. Everybody who participated in that absolutely frickin' slapped. I can't believe now I have sugar. After all that.
What we have for you, an ice cream and cereal taste test. And now what we've actually done is we've designed the ice cream and cereals to harken back to 3 different dishes on your last meal's menu. These have all been made in-house.
Why? I'm not listening
here-
to a word you're saying, Josh.
You don't have to listen, Sam. That's the beauty of food. You can just eat it. So
Okay.
this is Nut Cream Toast Crunch. This is a Nutella cream cheese ice cream.
Way.
French Toast Crunch.
Oh my God.
Please enjoy. Can I scoop you up some?
Please do.
So this is a house-made Nutella ice cream with a little bit of a cream cheese frosting swirled inside of there. And then we have the French Toast Crunch in the box. Please enjoy.
Are you familiar with the old classic game show, This Is Your Life?
No, that was a game show?
It's an old show, like in the classic era of television, where the idea was we're going to bring out a celebrity usually, and then we're going to celebrate their life by bringing out people that they like haven't seen in a while, and it was very emotional and ended up with like this big ensemble of folks on stage. This show's like that.
That means a lot, man.
It's called Last Meal, but it's a celebration of life. I smoked weed for the better part of 10 years. And
Congrats, man.
thanks.
Oh.
Thanks. That's what I was looking for. And one of my favorite pot pastimes was you get one of those miniature collection of miniature boxes of cereal, and you would pour out half, and you'd put an ice cream scoop in the other half of the box. And you could play around with all sorts of flavor combinations, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Josh. And so this really holds a special place in my heart.
On my last meal, should we ever do it, I decided that I would have something so similar. I also smoked pot for probably only about 5 years, not like 7 years of my life. But
Hey, congratulations, buddy.
hey, thanks, man. I think you're like your drama teacher said, the key isn't how bad you want something, it's how long you want
want
something.
it for.
And how long you can smoke that pot for until the anxiety of adulthood really creeps in. But I took a whole quart of ice cream and I hollowed out the center, but so you still had a wall, and then I filled that with Cinnamon Toast Crunch and milk. And I ate that.
That's so
But cereal and ice cream, I mean, this is truly a stoner's delight.
great.
You've been sober for several years at this point, right?
I guess since COVID, really.
Yeah.
There's a funny way in which, like, I think the fear and everything of COVID, like some people went the opposite direction, just wanted to be unconscious. And for me, it became about like vigilance. And so I wanted very much to be sort of awake and sober for it. And I've discovered that the gaming community attracts a lot of folks from the world of AA because games are now how they get their high.
Yeah.
And there is something about the sober community that I love and I really connect to, even though like me not drinking booze has more to do with like feeling allergic to alcohol than it does anything else.
Let's dive into the second one. Speaking of sobriety, so this is actually based on your mocktail. So this is a cucumber lime ice cream. And then we've made, if you want to try the cereal by itself, we've made kind of a play on on Muddy Buddies. We're calling them Mocky Minty Buddies. Almost as bad as Anderson Super, huh? But
If y'all don't merch this, you're losing out.
this is
Ooh!
fresh sugar-cured cucumbers, a little bit of lime zest in the ice cream base. And then if you just want to pour those right on top.
This is insane.
This is fun. This is fun.
No!
This is fun.
That's crazy. Cucumber ice cream.
I'm really fascinated with people's sort of origin stories, especially multi-generationally, and a seminal event that sort of kicks off
Yes.
this tremendous butterfly effect. Your
Yes.
dad met somebody when he was 9 years old in the Adirondack Mountains named Mickey Schwerner that ended up playing a tremendous role in history that, via much less important butterfly effects, ended you and I up in this booth together. Your dad, quite a short man, often needed a protector from bullies.
Bullied.
And Mickey Schwerner was one of his...
Yeah, sorry, go.
No, he was one of his protectors when he was young.
Yes.
And then your dad sort of lost contact with him later in high school, and then he learned about his fate.
Mickey Schwerner was taking part in a civil rights protest when he himself was killed.
Yeah.
And my father, learning this, it was part of what prompted him to imagine that he would in turn take on the mantle of fighting bullies as a part of his career. And he's done so in lots of ways, but some more abstract and some more literal.
Sure.
How would you say that ended me up here?
That is the role that I see you and Dropout really, really playing. You're talking about Hollywood like should be shaking in its boots. You look at a lot of the figureheads in Hollywood that have gone down, and they are also the prototypical bullies. Harvey Weinstein, what a prototypical monstrous bully who dominated Hollywood because exactly of that amassed hegemonic power that people like your dad, through people like, Mickey Schwerner, learned that Mickey Schwerner was killed by the KKK, the ultimate bullies, trying to get black people to register to vote in Mississippi as part of the Freedom Summer. There's these threads. It feels very silly that you're killing the hot dog demon and all this, but
Totally.
It's a tremendously important story. I've heard you say this, but entertainment has as much of our percentage of GDP as transportation and agriculture. And we see anti-bullying heroes in those sectors a lot that truly get their flowers. And I think, it's funny to take the piss and ask where you're from, and stuff like that. But I think what you're doing is tremendously important. I feel, really glad to at least have a small part in that.
We are largely a bunch of creative introverts and theater people who have ended up on like this side of the aisle.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the aisle are a lot of people who come from the world of finance and marketing. And those people, not all of whom at all, not all agents and managers, not all industry executives, would be just as likely to invest in real estate,
Yeah.
but ended up in the entertainment industry because they thought it could be commoditized,
Sure.
are liable to really take advantage of us. We were taking a tour of an agency around the same time that we had just put Adam Ruins Everything on the air. And as we were rounding a corner, I heard an executive say to their assistant, "I'm going to kill you." And in that moment, really earnestly felt within myself the echo of never. Like, if that's the club, I want no part in it.
Yep.
Dropout exists partially because we really want to do this for a living and partly because we're looking for our own little happy place to do it. And it also exists out of spite for an industry that would abuse us.
Yeah. We have one more ice cream.
Thank God.
It's melting. This is our biggest swing. So this is our green Sichuan caramel crunch. And then we've made Sichuan spice Krispies. You said that eating Sichuan pepper was a religious experience.
Unreal.
This is what we call the wild card one.
That's unbelievable. It's almost herbaceous.
It's the green peppercorn being
It
used in there.
tastes green.
It does. Oh,
I mean,
man.
That is genuinely one of the coolest flavors I've had in a long time.
Sam,
Yeah,
we ask
no.
everyone on the show, what do you think happens when you die?
I'm a big believer in the soup theory, which is to say, when we die, our consciousness goes back into the soup. And when we are born, we are ladled out of that same soup, which is to say there is a little bit of us in everyone who's ever been.
I'm being very serious here. What kind of soup are you picturing? Are we talking like a homogeneous butternut squash bisque or a clam chowder where you're getting different pulls with each ladle?
I would like to imagine that it's a clam chowder.
Manhattan or New England? No one's ever ordered Manhattan in the history of the world.
Psychotic. Manhattan clam chowder is psychotic. I believe that when we are born as like frequencies of radio, like radio stations. And when we die, we become radio again.
That's beautiful. I hope it's true, man.
Hey, same.
You ready to get in the lightning round?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Who's the one person, dead or alive, you'd want to share your actual last meal with?
Death as a part of a bargain to stay alive.
Chess on the beach, you say. What song do you want to be played at your funeral?
Lo-fi beats to be dead to.
Will you challenge Vic Michaelis for Dropout presidency in this upcoming election?
No need to challenge them. The term is very short.
Someone didn't check the bylaws. Who's your dream eulogizer at your funeral?
My great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchild.
What's one Brennan freakout that you'll remember on your deathbed?
I think the unaired times that Brennan frustratedly tried to end the yes or no episode of Game Changer, but I cut them out of the episode so he looked less smart than he actually is.
What's Weird Al's best song?
Okay, I think that if we're going parody, it's Yoda, and I think that if we are going original, it's Frank's 2000-inch TV.
What's your greatest regret in life?
Not coming up with a better third pun name for you as interviewer.
There's still time. Finally, Sam, it's the question we ask every guest. Are you happy?
You know, Josh, I've accomplished everything I thought I would in life and more. 6 out of 10.
Pretty good.
For not someone who defines themselves as not a happy person,
Yeah.
not too bad.
I'm happy temporarily that you did this. I'm happy that we got to spend this time together.
This was awesome.
Truly, man, this is incredible. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to say your last words to that camera right there.
I was here the whole time.
God damn right he was. You can check out season 8 of Game Changer. Do you know the exact date it comes out? We're looking for it in the emails.
May 18th.
Let's begin with one of my all-time favorite games we have ever come up with here on the Game Changer stage.
Okay, give us a little preview on what kind of games you're going to change around. Come on, what games are we changing here, Sam? Come on.
That's the least informed you sounded the entire interview somehow.
Hungry for more? Catch up on every Last Bite with the Last Meals playlist at lastmeals.com.